This is the world's most beautiful country, and yet somehow more people visit Cleveland, Ohio than here. We're talking about a country that has everything, from beautiful tropical beaches to futuristic cities, waterfalls, deserts, mountains, you name it. The kind of places that don't even look real. So why does nobody visit? The country I'm talking about is Brazil, the 5th biggest in the world. And yet somehow more people visit Croatia, a country that's smaller than most Brazilian states, but receives around 4 times more visitors than the entire country of Brazil. Every time you think of Brazil, you probably think of carnival, football, beautiful beaches, and of course, crime. And if I had to find one word to explain why Brazil is such an underrated country, I would say it is misunderstood. And that's mostly Brazil's own fault. That's how it sold itself for the past decades. Let's just say if Brazil was a company, they have horrible marketing. I currently live in Brazil's most famous and most visited city, Rio de Janeiro. A city that's so epic that it has its own Disney movie. And even though most people that visit fall in love with it, it's not even close to being one of the top destinations for tourists. It's not even in the top 50. And I know that some people argue that Brazil doesn't get as many visitors because of its geographic location. Basically saying that no one visits because it's far. And while that could be the case for some people, I don't think it makes sense. For example, a flight from Houston to London is around 9 hours long. And a flight from Houston to Rio is around 10 hours long. So I think it has a lot more to do with the lack of information, hence how Brazil is horrible at selling itself internationally. It is also bad at preparing itself to receive those visitors. However, it's not as bad as people think. See, a lot of people think that Brazil has a worse infrastructure than it actually has. I think that when people think about visiting the Amazon, for example, they imagine themselves staying in a jungle, sleeping by the river. But what if I told you there are entire cities in the middle of the jungle? What you're seeing is the city of Manaus, Manauara Shopping. That's one of the malls in the city, for example. And yes, there's a McDonald's, a Burger King, an Adidas store. And yes, the city offers great restaurants and 5-star hotels. You can even find some luxury hotels inside the jungle. And I can tell you that more than 2 million people live here. And a flight from Rio to Manaus is around 4 hours, which shows you just how massive Brazil is. In the same region where you find Manaus in the north of Brazil, you also find Belém, which is another city located inside the Amazon forest. Oh, and that's where your acai bowl comes from, by the way. And guess what? Even though you never heard of it and 99% of the Brazilians never even visited this city, it has more than 2 million people living in its metropolitan area. All of that to say that even in the jungle, Brazil is not as jungly as you think. And then we go to the northeast of Brazil, where you're gonna find beaches that belong in the Maldives or the Caribbean. And I'm not exaggerating. One of the most surreal places that I still have to visit is the Lençóis Maranhenses. To be honest, just by seeing it in videos and photos is just breathtaking. Like, it doesn't even look like a real place on earth. And this one is actually a little bit tougher to get to, as it is not located in the capital. You have to either drive or take a bus or a transfer for 3 to 4 hours from São Luís to actually get to Lençóis Maranhenses. This place is high up in my Brazil bucket list, so I'll probably visit sometime soon. Besides from the Lençóis Maranhenses, the northeast region also has some big cities like Recife, João Pessoa, Fortaleza, Salvador, Natal, Maceió. And those cities have everything from, luxury malls and luxury hotels. In Recife, you can find some Gucci and Dolce & Gabbana, as well as in Fortaleza. Oh, and there's a little hidden gem. If you take an 1-hour flight from Recife, you can get to a place I'm sure you've never heard of, called Fernando de Noronha. A volcanic archipelago with stunning beaches that are actually considered a sanctuary for its rich marine biodiversity. What's even crazier is that this place has a limit of how many people can visit in a month. It is protected due to being a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And the most famous beach in the archipelago is the Praia de Sancho. that has been considered many times by TripAdvisor the most beautiful beach in the world. Now we go from these tropical paradises in the northeast all the way down to the south of Brazil. In a complete change of scenery, we find the most European region of Brazil. Winters here are actually cold, and you have places that you never tell it is actually in Brazil, like Gramado or Blumenau. You'll also find Porto Alegre and Florianópolis, which is actually the coolest island in Brazil. Often considered the surf town of Brazil or something like the California of Brazil. Some people say it's kind of like Hawaii too. Here you're gonna find beautiful beaches and mansions and luxury neighborhoods. Not too far from Florianópolis, you're gonna find Balneário Camboriú, a place that's known as the Dubai of Brazil, with high-rise buildings right by the beach. They're even building a Lamborghini apartment complex here. And then still in the south region, you have Curitiba, one of the smartest cities in the world. A model for sustainable urban planning, extensive green spaces, and efficient waste management systems. The cities in the south are often considered the safest cities in Brazil. Oh, and let's not forget Foz do Iguaçu, where you have the beautiful Iguaçu Falls, and you can even stay at a 5-star Belmont hotel over there. It's a breathtaking experience for sure. And then there are many other major cities and sites, like Brazil's capital of Brasilia. You have Goiânia, you have Belo Horizonte. You also find a bunch of hidden gems like colonial towns and incredible sites like the Gruta Azul in Bonito, Mato Grosso do Sul, or the Chapada Diamantina in Bahia, or Jalapão in Tocantins. There's also Dunas do Rosado in Rio Grande do Norte, Chapada de Veadeiros in Goiás. Even in Rio, you have Angra dos Reis, you have Paraty, which is insane, and you have Arraial do Cabo. And still, if you're in Brazil and you're craving a little bit of that, New York megalopolis feel, you can definitely just go to São Paulo, which is in fact the largest city in the Americas, even bigger than New York itself. And it's chaotic, modern, historical, global, and full of contrasts. You'll find skyscrapers, art galleries, street food, Michelin star restaurants, and communities from Japan, Italy, Lebanon, all in one city. And this is the money capital of Brazil, so here you're gonna find the most luxury. And even with all that, Brazil is still not even close to being one of the most visited countries. And I think there's one thing that plays a really big part in this: safety. Sure, Brazil has a lot of problems, but remember I spoke about the cities in the south? Some of them have better safety rankings than some cities in the US. And I think people are finally realizing just how underrated Brazil is, because the numbers are finally changing. And this year so far, Brazil has received over 7 million tourists. And that's a record-breaking number, a 50% increase from 2024. And I can say it's definitely because of TikTok and YouTube and the more information that people have now. We're no longer stuck with what the media shows. And if you want to visit Brazil, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you need even more help, you can reach out to me directly, because I am Luca, your Brazilian friend. And I'll see you on the next one.